To our professor, Dr. Kirk, and to my fellow students, grace and peace to you all. How honored and humbled I am to be a part of such an esteemed class. It's been great to meet some of you all in our communication forum, our discussion forum. This week, uh, this installment is our first discussion of the week. Again, it's around our text, The Burdensome Joy of Preaching by Dr. Massey. And what a great read it has been for me down through the course of life and ministry. So this week's discussion is around not only Dr. Massey's look at what he calls the burdensome joy, but also about the limitation and responsibility of the burdensome joy of preaching. He derives or gets to burdensome from from preparation and then joy in presentation. And again, for those of us that experience this burdensome joy on a weekly basis, we understand both Dr. Massey's thought as well as Dr. Massey quotes the Prince of Preaching, Dr. Gardner C. Taylor, the sweet torture of Sunday morning. And again, the burdensome is around the preparation and the joy around the presentation. And so for us, we know how difficult that preparation can be to spend your week in prayer and fasting about text selection. And then once the Holy Spirit gives you a text for Sunday morning, the grind that is preparing for that, looking at the historical context and word study, just so you can stand on Sunday morning and give a good presentation of what expository preaching is. It is seems to be burdensome at times, and how many of us can attest to the fact that the Holy Spirit will often wake you up at 3 and 4 in the morning to change the message or either change the direction of the message. It just seems to be burdensome at times. But the joy of Sunday morning and seeing how eyes are lighting up over some information that may change the course of a believer's life for the preacher or the pastor, that gives us so much joy. And so he highlights that. But then he pushes it a little bit further when he talks about the responsibility and the limitations of that preaching. Of course, the responsibility wrapped in a preparation, that we all desire to be clear and concise, right? To say it the way God intends it said, but then to say it not using many words, not to distract anyone, to be concise. And then he talks about the limitations that oftentimes, and Dr. Massey cites it in his book, the sadness that you feel when you go home and there's something that you meant to say that you did not say, or something that you said that you didn't mean to say. And again, it is for us, it's that inward pull to trust the Holy Spirit in that moment, that whatever was said, the Holy Spirit intended for it to be said, and whatever was not said, whatever was omitted, the Holy Spirit intended for it to be omitted. So for us, it's just not just trusting the Holy Spirit in that moment, but trusting the Holy Spirit with the assignment that he's given us, the call, right? What Philip Brooks says, that preaching is God's truth through human personality. It's God trusting us in that moment, not just for that moment, because again, our call to preach is not in spite of what we've been through, but sometimes it's because of what we've been through. And allow the Holy Spirit to lean on some of those livable examples that we have in our bag when we stand up on Sunday morning to make the text come alive, not just in the presentation, but in the life of those that hear it. My prayer often when I stand to preach on Sunday mornings is God bless the preaching moment, not just in the speaking, but also in the hearing. And then my prayer is always, and anyone that is a member of our church will tell you, my prayer is almost mechanical. God bless, empty the preacher, expose the passage, and encourage the people, that we can all leave greater than we came. So again, preaching for us, it drives on, especially expository preaching, those of us that desire to be exegetical and preach the actual living portions of the text. The drive for us is leaning on the Holy Spirit, trusting the Holy Spirit in that moment. And again, I look forward to the next 5 weeks. Where we can learn and be built up in this sphere of homiletics, where we can be better preachers, both in clarity and being concise. So again, thank you for this time. I look forward to hearing from our professor, Dr. Kirk, and all that he has to share to make us better preachers and better believers, is when we not only preach the word but live the word. Again, thank you, and God's blessings over your life and ministry.